Hi, and welcome to this overview of the new MoneyBrilliant Partner Toolkit. The toolkit incorporates a lot of input and feedback that we've had from planners and accountants over the years about what they need to provide budgeting and cash flow services to their clients. Here I am at the MoneyBrilliant website. I'm going to log into MoneyBrilliant Partner Access. Now I'm using a demonstration Partner Access account, and we're going to use a demonstration client account. If you don't have the details for these accounts, please let us know and we'll pass them on to you so that you can try the MoneyBrilliant platform for yourself. Okay, so here we are in MoneyBrilliant Partner Access. For those of you who haven't seen it before, this is the main client screen in Partner Access. It will list any clients that you have attached to your MoneyBrilliant Partner Access account. From here, I can select a client that I'm interested in looking at just by tapping on the client name. When I tap on the client name, it will take me directly to the Partner Access client dashboard, which is a great way to see a summary of the key MoneyBrilliant information about a client. Here we can see the net worth of the client and the net worth history of the client, so how their net worth has changed over time. Over on the right hand side of the screen, I can see their onboarding and profile information. I can see a summary of their assets and liabilities, and I can drill down to individual assets and liabilities if I want to. If I scroll down, I can see the client's spending reports, and I can access detailed spending reports if I want to. I can see their most recent transactions. I can also see details of their budget and how they're tracking against their budget, and a summary of their bills this month. I can also see feed items that have been sent to their app activity feed recently. And finally, I can see a summary of their People Like Me spending comparison data. But what we're really after is the export function. For those of you who are already familiar with MoneyBrilliant, you'll recognize that we've made a small change here to bring the export feature up onto the client dashboard to make it easier to access. When we select the export feature, we get a dialog box that allows us to download two things. Firstly, we can download the Partner Toolkit, and secondly, we can download a client data export. When we select to download the latest Partner Toolkit, you'll see the toolkit start to download in the bottom left-hand corner of my browser session. When the toolkit's downloaded, we simply tap on it to open the toolkit in Excel. When the toolkit's open, just accept the two warning messages that you'll get about downloading spreadsheets from the internet and about macros. So most of the features of the toolkit are now available for use via the buttons on the toolkit title screen. We're just going to select the first one to enter our setup details and then enter our advisor and advisory practice details into the setup screen. These details will be used in any of the reports or the analysis that the toolkit produces. Once we've done that, we're just going to switch back to MoneyBrilliant Partner Access and export the client data file by pressing the Export button. You'll see the client data file start to download in the bottom left-hand corner of my browser session. Once that file is downloaded, we're going to switch back to the Partner Access Toolkit in Excel, and then we'll go back to the title screen and use the Import Client Data File button to import that freshly downloaded client data file. Once we tap the button, we'll get a warning message just to warn us that we're about to populate this toolkit template with a client data file, and if we click Yes to proceed, it'll then prompt us for the client data file that we'd like to import. We'll just pick the client data file that we've just exported, and then once that file is imported, the toolkit will prompt us to save this toolkit with a new name corresponds to the client name. So the toolkit will prompt us with a file name, which we'll accept and click the Save button. We now have a saved version of the template toolkit populated with the client data. Okay, so now we've successfully imported a new client data file into our Partner Access Toolkit. Let's go and have a look at the data that's been brought in. So firstly, you'll notice on the Setup Details screen, the client name, email address, and the data extract date has been populated into the Setup Details screen. Notice also there's some configuration options up here, so the current month and the starting month for the income and expense analysis. You can change these to meet your own requirements. There's also an opening cash balance, which can be used in the cash flow forecasts. If we move to the account screen, you'll see here that the details of all of the client's asset and liability accounts are being populated here, including the current account balances and the last date that the balances were updated. For the time being, our account history tab will look much the same as our account tab because we only have 1 month of account history. But if we use this workbook in the future and update it with fresh account balances from a new client data export file, the old account balances will be maintained in the account history tab. If we move to the transaction tab, this will contain an extract of the client's financial transactions, including the categories that have been assigned to those transactions and any tags or notes that the client may have entered for those transactions. And then finally, the Budget Download tab will contain the details of the client's budgets for each income category, each spending category, and for each month of the budget period. So that's the data that's been exported from MoneyBrilliant Partner Access and then imported into the Partner Access Toolkit. So let's now go and have a look at the reports and the analysis that the toolkit contains. The first report is the budget report. This will give you a nicely presented and formatted view of the client's budgets by month, as well as some of the key ratios that you might use in discussions with clients. Notice that we've used the same icons in the app in the report. Notice also the buttons at the top of the screen that are designed to save you some time. On virtually all tabs in the workbook, there are buttons that will automatically fit the column width so that all numbers are visible and automatically hide and unhide rows and columns that are fully populated with zeros. The second report is the income statement. This will give you a very detailed income statement for the client showing all of their actual income and spending for the period that you selected in the Setup Details tab. If you want to change the periods that you're looking at, just go back to the Setup Details tab and change the start period back there. The next report is the budget versus actual monthly report. This will give you all of the same actual income and actual spending amounts, but now compare it to the budgeted amounts that the client set, as well as identify any variances. The next report is the client's personal balance sheet report. We've used some concepts from business finance here and assigned each of the client's accounts to the typical balance sheet categories of current assets, non-current assets, current liabilities, and non-current liabilities, and then calculated a personal equity value for the client. Now if we move to the expense analysis tab, we've prepared a number of different charts that will be useful in reviewing a client's finances, their budget, and their cash flow. The first shows a client's cash flow surplus by month, so you get a quick overview of whether the client is generating surplus cash each month and any large or one-off anomalies. You can see that this client has a couple of periods during the past 12 months where they've spent more than they've earned, and then a large one-off cash inflow recently. This is definitely something to explore further with the client. The next chart shows the client's essential spending by month and spending category. And then we have a similar chart that shows their lifestyle spending by month and by category. The next chart shows a summary of their lifestyle, essentials, and surplus spending on the same chart. And the final chart shows a summary of total lifestyle, essentials, and surplus spending for all periods. This will give you a high-level sense of the overall health of the client's cash flow and allow you to compare their actual spend to rough rules of thumb and benchmarks, such as the one that we use about spending 50% on essentials, 30% on lifestyle, and having 20% surplus or savings. The next tab provides a summary of top spending categories so that you can quickly and easily see where your clients are spending most of their money. The next tab contains a one-year cash flow summary. which is going to be much the same as the client's income statement. But this sheet also contains the opening cash balance from the setup details screen, and at the bottom estimates the opening cash and closing cash balances for the client for each month. The next tab does the same thing, but this time for a 2-year period. So if you want an extended cash flow analysis, this is the tab that will provide it. The next tab contains a really neat chart, which is a 2-year cash flow summary chart. This will show the client's total income, their total essential spending, their total lifestyle spending, and their accumulated cash balances over a 2-year period. The ratio analysis tab contains some financial ratios that we've created to help assess a client's overall cash flow and their financial health. We've taken some examples from business finance here and we're applying them to personal financial management. The first ratio that we've calculated is the client's current ratio. This ratio measures their proportion of current assets to current liabilities, and it gives you a sense of their liquidity and solvency. Then we have the cash ratio. Again, this is a measure of solvency and liquidity and measures the amount of cash the client has compared to the amount of short-term liabilities or debt they have. Then we have the client's debt to assets ratio. So this gives you a sense of how the client's assets have been financed. And then we have the client's debt to equity ratio, which you can again track over time, and a drop in this ratio will generally indicate an improvement in financial health. And we also calculate the client's interest cover, which calculates the ratio between the client's interest expense and their total income. This will give you a good sense of how affordable the client's debt is. The next tab contains a chart showing the client's net worth and tracks changes in the client's net worth over time. Obviously, all of these charts will be much more powerful and much more useful when the client toolkit has been populated with several months or several quarters of customer data. Here is an example of a toolkit with several months of client data. Notice how the charts can be used to demonstrate trends and changes in the client's financial health over time. The last tab in the workbook contains the report cover sheet that we print when we select to print reports. It's all pre-formatted and populated from other data in the toolkit, so you shouldn't really need to edit it. But the idea is that you can print an attractive cover sheet to place on top of any reports that you print from the toolkit for distribution to clients. Okay, so let's now go and have a look at how we manage printing of reports. Of course, being Excel, you can print pretty much anything you want in any way that you want, but we've really tried to make it easy for you to assemble a client review document or a client report by putting a whole series of print options on the Print Control tab and automating as much of it as we can. So the idea is that you can build a personalized report for the client based on the client's needs or your own advice and service processes by selecting the different components of the toolkit that you'd like to assemble into the client report. After we've selected the different components that we'd like to include in our report, we just go up to the Print Reports button, press the button, and we'll see each of the components that we've selected previewed, where we can check the formatting and make sure that we're happy with them. Press the Print button and print that component. The idea is that now you can literally walk over to the printer, pick up those pages, put a staple through them, and you have a document ready to present to the client that's been personalized for the client. Of course, if you'd prefer, you could also print these reports to PDF and send them to the client in advance of a meeting, or send them to the client in preparation for an electronic meeting if that's what you were planning to do. So the only thing left to do now is to save a copy of the client toolkit so that any of our edits or comments are saved. And then in a month or a quarter's time, when we review this client, we'll open up the client toolkit, import a new client data file that's been exported from MoneyBrilliant Partner Access, and then review the updated information. Each time we review the client, we'd recommend saving the version of the toolkit that you've used so that you've got a complete historical record of each review. So that's it, the new MoneyBrilliant Partner Access Toolkit. We hope you like it. We think it's an exciting new feature that will help partners deliver better cash flow, budgeting, and financial advice to clients. If you have any feedback, we'd love to hear it.
Don't just be good with money, be money brilliant.